So today we actually have a lot of footage to go through. Forgotten Beast has attacked from my shallowest cavern, and what we're going to watch is the real-time reaction of my dwarf army to this threat. And we actually have two threats that happened in quick succession, and the second one was handled so poorly that I had to not save. I'm going to save scum this fortress and try to save the lives of the maybe 80 total dwarves that died in these two attacks. But so this first one, this will be good, excellent learning material, because the first one was handled okay, and then the second one was not handled okay. And I'll point out my mistakes and what caused me to give up on this recovery attempt. So this is, I think it's a one-eyed shrimp that shoots webs. All these monsters are kind of procedurally generated. And oddly, both of them would shoot webs this time, which is very dangerous, but I prefer it to poison gas. If they can breathe poison gas or anything like that in an enclosed space like these caverns, incredibly dangerous. But so the creature is lumbering towards some beds, a bedroom and a stockpile that you can see at the north of your map there. And this is big trouble for me. I don't have fast dwarf, I don't have any hacks on. I'm showing you how I'm responding to this in real time. At least for this one. I think as the other one goes topsy-turvy at some point, I do enable that to try to salvage it. But so he is now lumbering towards a sleeping dwarf who is asleep in his bed. And this is really heartbreaking. You're going to see a few of these. And my dwarves who are awake are responding. They are getting their weapons, they're getting their crossbows, their swords, their spears, and they are coming downstairs and there you go, attacked with webs. You can see the monster there, and he is now dead. You can see the blood pour out. The tile changes there where the monster spraying webs, some kind of web attack. And the sleeping dwarf being snuffed out and you can see in the job list, his friends are coming to save him, but they're just not fast enough. They have to go to and ready themselves for battle, and they have to come down here. And at this point, I'm not sure if the monster is eating him or just resting, but it is crouched on his now blood-soaked bed, and it is, for some reason, kind of guarding the corpse. And that's helpful because it's letting my army actually respond as they need to. And so we're just watching. He's just sitting there. I'm grateful for that he's giving me a break. You'll see the next monster, which is some kind of blind mouse that actually comes from the surface. It's called a Savannah Titan, and it basically half wipes my fortress. Now, don't forget that this fortress is run by a mayor who is a vampire, an immortal vampire, permanently walled up in a secret area of the cave of the fortress. So this fortress will never be wiped. But here you can see a line of 6 or 7 more, like most of a dozen soldiers who are now, they have their gear and they're working their way down into the cave to confront this thing. And yeah, this one goes okay. One-eyed shrimp, it has lacy wings, and although it can shoot webs, it is contained below ground. You'll see the one that comes from above ground is a very, very different story. And now let me just look, maybe even get a drink of water. I'm not prepared today this is emotional too, because this really goes badly, and at first it seemed fun, but there actually are a lot of rough deaths in this. So now you can see that the monster is in my stockpile. It's just lumbering through. The reason I keep checking its status is because that will show if it's been injured yet. It has not been, we have not done any damage to this thing yet. Right there, immediately kills two warriors. The first two who go to confront it, it swats them down and there's 3 and 4 and 5. And you're gonna say, how did this one go well? You'll see how poorly the other one goes. These Forgotten Beasts from below and Savannah Titans from above, these can wipe you out if you're not prepared. And I have a decent little standing army of 120 or 140 civilians. About 60 of them train and have some skills with different weapons. They practice fighting. Doesn't matter. This monster is ripping through them. And I'm now I have it paused because you can always, one of the nice things about Dwarf Fortress is you can always pause. You can always pause and think about it. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of looking at the situation. If you're having trouble interpreting what's happening, the monster is kind of cornered. It has its back against a ramp that's leading up to another Z level, but it is kind of planting there, and it's now finally being surrounded by warriors, and it just died. See where that big T came up? That is the monster, I believe, although it did, I could be wrong about what that might have been a different animal that got, you know what, I think that T is actually a troglodyte from this cave that got pulled into that fray. It's hard to even tell. Okay, I am confirming here that it is dead. So yeah, it died. It may not have been the T, but it died moments later. So this one has been quelled, and I have lost 20 warriors. Not great, but survivable, and in this kind of grim, dark world, not terrible. So let me switch over. I'm going to play us the second video that shows how it can go much, much worse. Now, this next one is going to be hard to watch, and I make a few critical mistakes that I don't stand by, but you're going to learn from my mistake. So onto the scene, a giant eyeless mouse has walked in. It has a regal bearing, it has horns, it has short fur. That's all we know about it. It has walked in. It also shoots webs for some reason. And I apologize for laughing. What we're about to see is very, very serious. But I will point out my mistakes and you can learn from them. So this monster, it has walked in from stage right. It is standing near my surface magma forges. And I have the game paused because I'm trying to decide how to deal with this. This came directly on the heels of the attack I just showed you. I'm having some weird RNG luck or something, or maybe I've reached some threshold where now the game is going to really start messing with me. But so now it has spit webs, you see, and it has killed a man, killed a dwarf who was working in one of the magma forges. I just walked up and got him. Now at this point, if I had not underestimated this one's strength, I would be moving my civilian dwarves to burrows, and these are important to learn. They're a little hard to set up, but you can read about it on the wiki. Burrows will emergency pull different members of the community to different scenarios, and what you can do is you can activate an emergency burrow and send all the children, all the non-combatants, send them to a safe area, to like a panic area of a panic room area of the fortress. I have those set up in this, but I thought that I had it under control. I was sending warriors. I thought things were good. I thought the responding team was going to deal with it. And you can see here I've assigned many. Everybody's picking up their weapons again. What I didn't anticipate, I think, is that 20 of my soldiers were killed and replaced with less experienced soldiers, but also a lot of my experienced soldiers were resting in hospital from their injuries. They had suffered some injury and they were resting. So an unprepared, relatively meager force is now confronting this monster, and as you can see, web attack, and 2 more are struck down. The monster continues on. At this point, I have still not activated my emergency burrows. I haven't. It hasn't struck me, or maybe I'll say I even wanted to get good footage. I knew I could roll it back. I have, for the record, I have saved my game after this second monster using DFHack's quick save, but I did save scum. I quit out and did not save after this because it was too bad. And you'll see at this point, this is the part where I knew I had made a terrible mistake. There are children playing in the field to the top left, and he is going to wander over there and he is going to start eating children, basically. Here you can see from the bottom left, one of my warriors is approaching. He's got his attention. Is now injured and dead. Another warrior approaching. They're coming in too staggered. That's the other thing. I could have rallied them and had them all come in at once. At this point, again, I'm not speeding them up with fast dwarf or anything, so this is how it would really play out. I think its lower body is bruised, so it has taken some damage. They're making some progress on this thing, but they're going in one at a time, and it's putting them down. It has still mostly been distracted. There's still a child gathering fruit and playing in the field nearby, and again, you would call them back to your burrows if you were playing carefully by now. What happens next is my fault. I am now in real time replacing empty spots. So the ones who have died, I wasn't, I mean, they just died, so the slots are empty. I'm now replacing them with inexperienced soldiers, the ones I mentioned. I'm just like, you, anybody who's free, get that sword, run at this thing. Again, not smart. I saw actually from a community page, someone built like this incredible ballista tower. And you know what? Especially for these monsters, maybe underground as well, I need to start building siege weapons. I need to start building siege defense, rather. I need to start building ballista. I have to start taking it more seriously. See, now we're up, I believe, by the fields. The camera shifted and I got distracted, but... see, there's the alert. Dwarven child cancels harvest plants. Let me try that again. Dwarven child cancels harvest plants, interrupted by a savannah titan. That will happen when you are not playing carefully, as I am doing in this. And I think it'll show by the end. So I started with 140 and I was down to 60. So unless my math is wrong, that is 80. That is more than 50% were killed by these 1-2 punch attacks. And I could rebuild from that. I thought about, taking my lumps, because some people disrespect a messy player, some people disrespect a save scummer, somebody who will say, oh, that didn't happen, let me go back to an earlier save. I do that, because I make mistakes. I play games to have fun, and so I allow myself the occasional mistake. This is going really, really poorly. By now, maybe you can interpret the user interface for yourself, but those little spider webby, they also represent crystals, which can get confusing in stockpiles. But it is spraying, using its web attack, and citizens are dying. Oh god, this goes on for a while. So I just saw in that menu that there's 105 citizens still alive, and I remember distinctly before I quit out that it gets down to 60. So the beast has now moved down. It's kind of cornered again. It's put in this corner again. That's usually how these divine beasts get caught, is they get pushed into a corner, and the warriors can kind of gang up on it. You can see now it's injured. It is hurt. It's on its way out, but. What's that old saying about a wounded beast and a cornered beast? That's what we're dealing with now, and at this point, I'm mostly just letting the camera roll. I'm not even really trying to salvage this, so there are still children and civilians wandering through this battle. I apologize for laughing, it is not funny. It is only by the grace of these all being fictional characters that I have not committed atrocity tonight. So, I mean, I hope that my listeners appreciate how open and how honest and real I'm being about my Dwarf Fortress experience. I played this poorly, and a lot of innocent dwarves died. Rest assured, I did save scum. So the only ones who died in the official narrative, you're just seeing a horrible parallel universe, were the approximately 20 who put down that Forgotten Beast. And what I'm probably going to do now is go in and use Fast Dwarf, use cheats. And just build a wall around that Forgotten Beast, lock it up like a zoo animal, really cheat, leave it there like a what would you even call, insisted on my map, not like to insist on something, but to create assist with this monster in the middle. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind trying to describe this. I'll show you next time. I'll use cheats to cage it until a more controlled execution is possible. As you can see down, it is still just roaming and killing everything. I think I just saw a dog run in, also wiped out in that attack. The soldiers, you'll see, they are going to get control of it. I'm going to show you the ending. It's about to go down. When the exclamation point on its character starts flashing right there, it is now bleeding to death. It is now critically, fatally injured. It is still fighting. It is still causing damage, though. You'll see when I go to its damage report in a second, it'll say like its heart is torn open, its heart is broken, I think it might say by coincidence, and its heart is spouting gouts of its blood. So it is now critically injured, and yep, right there. Everything is broken, it is gushing its own blood, but it is still fighting because it's a monster. 30 more seconds, you're about to see it die, and then I click out. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you learned from my mistakes and learned something. Good night.